Welcome, welcome, welcome back to Truth Quest. My name is Aaron Moriarity. I will be your host, and we're going to go on a quest for truth together. Yes, we are. I hope you're having a great time, friends. Thank you for joining me. I just was over there on the Twitch watching my good friend Red Pill. He had a great show tonight with Thomas, True Reporting. Two great sources. If you're not watching them, get watching them. I am, alrighty then, here we go. Yes, I'm gonna share this out. If anyone's watching, to my Facebook friends. Welcome to anyone who happens to be watching. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the Truth Quest. We're going to talk about some interesting stuff today. And maybe we'll even open up the phone lines a little later and take some calls. How does that sound, folks? Groovy like a record, I'd say. Okay, we got a couple people watching. Thank you for stopping by. And we got our first like. Thank you so much for liking and sharing. Please, if you're visiting for your first time here, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. We do a show. Hey, Mud Rabbit. Glad to see you here. Hadn't seen you in a while. I was worried about you. I'm glad to see you. So very good to see you. Sounds good over there? Very good. Thank you. I just shared this out to my friends on Facebook. So if you guys want to help get the word out, share this out to your favorite social media platform, feel free. And you can do that. No problemo. I'm going to try and play some of this music again. Oops, I think we have to unmute it now. And there's our little kind of mood background music. I hope that's not too loud. Maybe it's not loud enough, I don't know. Is that better? Oh, I went, no problem, Mud Rabbit, no problem. Hey, Terry, how you doing? Major Face Palm, welcome to the show, welcome to the show. So happy to be here. I'm, like you might have heard me mention before, I'm going to be doing a show Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and the weekends are a mixed bag. So today, this weekend, it's on a Sunday. Well, hello, Sarah. How you doing today? Thanks for joining us. Everybody's having fun in the chat. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like and share, all that kind of crazy fun stuff. Hello, Cassandra. Glad to see you here. Thank you very much. And let me see something here. I might be getting a call from a friend of mine that you've heard on here before. So we'll see if that call comes through. All right. How are you folks doing today? Have you, has anybody seen a UFO today or heard any news about disclosure? Any new developments, perhaps? Or any of this craziness happening around the world? I mean, it's pretty darn crazy if you think about it. All the stuff that's happening. just crazy, just crazy. I'm telling you. You don't need me to tell you that. But we're all here. We have each other, and we have the intro net. Isn't that nice? Hey, Tron, good to see you here. All is well, Mud Rabbit says. Hope the same on your side. Yes. You're still to see one. You haven't seen one yet. Well, you know, UFOs are, it's not that much fun to see a UFO. Really, I mean, when I guess the second time I saw two was was kind of fun. Well, thank you, Catherine, for that super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Oh, and Cassandra, you're on a parasite cleanse and Moody. Oh, wow. Yeah. I always wondered about those parasite cleanses. Like, maybe I got some good parasites. Maybe I don't want to get rid of them. Maybe there are some good guys in there. I don't know. Okay. Thank you again, Catherine, for that generous super chat. I really appreciate that. It really helps to keep the show going. So Cassandra asks, do you have any memories as a child of seeing, as a child or sensing one? No, I don't remember seeing a UFO as a child, but my brother, my little brother, Craig, swears up and down that he saw a UFO and I was there and I saw it too. But I can't for the life of me remember it. And I can't believe that I would not remember something like that. So it kind of freaks me out. Makes me wonder, were we messing with my little brother and, you know, convincing him that something was there that wasn't there, and now he remembers it and we forgot we were playing a trick on him? I don't know, you know, I wish I could remember. I do remember, now I didn't realize this until years later, but when I was in second grade, I do believe that I did leave my body when I was in the playground at school. And I can tell that story if you want me to. A UFO? Yeah, I probably didn't see a UFO. My brother claims that I did, but he said it looked like an upside down helicopter over Lake Minnetonka. But I don't know any UFOs that look like upside down helicopters. It probably was a helicopter in trouble. I don't know. Oh, you were told the same at age 6 that we all saw one, but you remember seeing the moon, not a UFO? Oh, okay. Yeah, they either wiped me or it wasn't anything and he was mistaken. I don't know. Me partially mind wiped. Well, I think that if they mind wiped me, it would be more of a full mind wipe. I have much evidence of that. But yeah, it's crazy, you know, because last time I was in town, or time before last, my little brother was talking about that, and like, what? Really? Because I was always wanting to see that. I was always having in my mind, if I ever see one, I'm going to run up to him and go, take me to your planet. I'm ready to get out of here. Let's go. Show me Saturn and Jupiter and all that. But no, it wasn't like that. First time I saw one was actually kind of freaked me out. Yeah, boy, maybe my mind was wiped early so that I actually have friends in my childhood. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I want to go ahead and do a little screen share here. Now, last time I was talking about these crazy California drones. Okay. And where is it? There it is. Here's a picture. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Oh, it's pixelated. Oh, darn. Well, that's what the craft looked like. Sort of, kind of strange looking, but if you notice that this round part around here, okay, now I want to show you another picture because it's a very odd looking, it's not your typical UFO. This is one of the California drones. We talked about this before in this channel. These were showing up many years ago over there in California. People were getting real crystal clear pictures of these things. And there's strange writing on the bottom. And as we learned from another show that I just did, this writing or linguistics was what this gentleman, Isaac, who came forward, talks about. But let me show you these pieces that was in the material that Isaac brought forward. Now, this is going to be able to, no, this is a little pixelated too, isn't it? So these, you see the same sort of a looking shape. Now, this is kind of weird because it's sideways, okay? I think that's the way they're supposed to be on a ground, but the way he had them, I guess they were, yeah, because up here it says Palo Alto, California. But these are large, those rings that are integral to the design of that craft. It looks like they're working on several different sizes of them here. And some of these pieces you'll see on these crafts, identical pieces. So it's very interesting. Now, when Isaac worked there, the craft were not flying yet. They were still working on it. And so here is kind of a side-by-side picture of the part here and the part in action here. So very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? Let's take a look at the chat and see what the chat has to say. Oh, I have links to the Andromedans, Arcturians, and Angelics. That sounds good. I don't know. Oh, Major Facepalm, you think Isaac is Bob Lazar? No, I don't think Bob Lazar worked at the Carrot Laboratory. He didn't claim that. But I do think that Bob Lazar might be behind the alien interview video, the silent video of the alien kind of flailing around in the chair a little bit. Okay, let's show this. Okay. All right, here is a page out of that the Palo Alto Carrot Laboratory Linguistics Analysis Primer. Now, this has some numbers kind of written on here and a question mark here. some question marks. This is from the paperwork that Isaac released. Very interesting. And it says here, see this page, this is page 119 from the Linguistics Primer by Packle for the Carrot Project. This page features figure 14.11, which is I guess we don't have the other part to that, but, oh, I thought that was on here, but I guess it's not. But yeah, very interesting. Fascinating. One of the most fascinating cases I've ever come across. And I hope you agree too. It's very interesting. Hi, True Grit. Welcome to the program. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. And everything else like that. True Grit. I like that. I like that movie. That was a good movie. True Grit. Yeah, I think we even watched that in the drive-in theater, I believe. True Grit. It's a good movie. Right? That's right. Yes. Okay. Now, if you want to know what the UFO I saw looked like, that I saw in 1996. Hello, Divine Tiffany. Glad to see you back here. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Thank you for all being here. Please like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, wake the neighbors, get the dogs, and tell them all that we're all broadcasting. And I'm expecting a call from a friend of mine to talk about some interesting research that this gentleman has done. So looking forward to that. Any minute now. Should be calling in. If he doesn't call, I'll call him. I'll call him. So yeah, the UFO I saw in 1996 over Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, at 3 in the afternoon, total daylight. It was very, very not cloudy. It was only a few clouds in the sky, and the craft was so close to me. Clouds were of no matter, and it looked just exactly like this. That's what it looked like, friends. It looked like the sport model, the same thing that Bob Lazar talks about. So funny you should mention Bob Lazar. But yeah, that is the craft I saw. And it was darting around. It was darting, you know, and stopping. And it was just, it freaked me out. And I was always like, I want to see one. But when it really happened, it was so freaky. And even though I felt like I would be prepared for it, I really wasn't really prepared for that. I got out of my car, I parked my car on the side of the highway, and there was nobody else on the highway, thank goodness. Or maybe not. I'd have a witness. but yeah, it was darting around. It just freaked me out. Yes, that is a lot like the Billy Meyer pictures. Yes. And that's, it's funny how the sport model does look a lot like some of the Billy Meyer pictures of UFOs that he captured over there across the big pond. I think it brings credibility to Billy Meyer. He's got thousands of photos and movie clips and unbelievable amount of stuff. Oh, Terry Hopper, you had a similar realization a while back that Aaron is a conductor at a Grand Central Station for time travelers. Oh, yes. Hi, Divine Tiffany. Yes, I'm sure you've all seen my prototype packaging. Very close to being finished on that with that time travel device. So we'll all be able to travel through time and have a good old time doing it. How's that sound? Sounds groovy. Groovy like record. Oh, I got to show you this shirt. It's my Truth Quest long sleeve t-shirt. And if you get the t-shirts, they run a little small, but the long sleeved t-shirt seems to run a little large. So if you get them, that's what you need to know. And I'll put a link in there for the, there it is. Yeah, where did the little thing go? Is that it? Copy link. Okay, copy link. There we go. Now we're cooking with Crisco. Oh yeah. And we gotta get back here. And there we go. So there it is. I hope that's it. That's a link to the big t-shirt shop. And here is that t-shirt, folks. Truth Quest, Aaron Moriarty. It's got the big Q. It's really nice. Nice quality garment. Why you could just wear nothing but Truth Quest wear. Be a Truth Quester and be the envy of everyone on your block. How's that sound? It's been a busy week, yes. Red Pill had a great show today with Thomas. Those two guys are very awesome. That's the one you like, Mud Rabbit, this shirt? Yeah, I like this one too. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty bright. I mean, look at the quality of this thing. It's really high quality. And so I'm very pleased, very happy. You know, I had Teespring before, their quality wasn't so good. This is much better. Yes. How do you like that? Well, I like it very much. Thank you very much. So there we have it. So what do you guys think about that? Those California drones. True Grit loves Red Pill too. Yeah, he's great. Hey, Kelly George. All is well. All is well. I hope, and looks like it's well with you too. Awesome looking. Well, thanks. I have my other one. I don't have it here though. Oh, but I do have that model kit that I didn't have last time of the sport model, right? Now this one's clear so you can see through it. But yeah, that's the UFO that I saw, exactly like this. And it was darting, stopping. There was no hand holding it. And it was pretty big. It was pretty close. Definitely pretty close. Also, friends, if you have a friend that likes to read books and maybe they're interested in this genre, this is a good book. Alien Interview. Highly recommend it. In fact, I might be doing another interview with this guy, Lawrence Spencer, the author of this fine book. If it's true, and yeah, I have to say that, that's, you know, I can't say that that's true or not because there's too many caveats to that book, and we'll talk about that. I can talk about that, I guess. But if it's true, it's got some really interesting information for humanity. So if you're at all curious, you know, I don't believe everything I read, but, you know, definitely things go into possibility racks, you know. Oh, that's 50% possible, I guess. Wait till I get more info. And you go from there, you know. You use your discernment best you can. Best you can. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. So yeah, that's a great book. The Day After Roswell. The Alien Interview. Day After Roswell is a good book too. That's the Disclosure book by Philip J. Corso. Oh, Major Facepalm says, Aaron, so you saw a clear UFO. Now I know where you got the inspiration for your Invisimask. Yeah. It's probably where I got the knowledge how to build those nanoparticles. And somehow I did it all in my dreams. And it came true. I think I manifested that. Yeah, manifesting. I manifested that. It's fun manifesting things. You can manifest it almost anything you want, right? That's right. That is right. I hope that you're all having a good time. Remember to like, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Sometimes I look at my analytics, you know, and it says, okay, you got like 40% of the people watching your shows aren't subscribed. Oh, really? Wow. That's interesting. But I completely understand. I don't subscribe to every channel either. But if you want to help the channel, subscribe. It really helps. Most of you probably are subscribed. That's why you got the notification. So thank you. Thank you if you're already subscribed. I really appreciate it. We're up to, I think, 2,269 or 2,270 Truth Questers so far. And I wanted to get it up to 3,000 is my temporary goal. Then I'll have more goals after that. So if you know anyone who's at all interested in stuff like this, let them know about my channel. And pretty soon we'll have 3,000 and then 1 million and 30 million, right? Major Facepalm, I manifest my invisible friends. Yes! Those are the easiest kind of friends to manifest. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I like that. Smash the like, True Grit says. Yes, thank you very much. Please hit the like. We got 12 likes so far, and we got 12 watching. I don't think we can get any more than that. I even liked it, so thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. I shared it out to my Facebook page. And I shared it also to my Truth Quest page on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I got kicked off. So there's that. I am on Telegram, but I don't know how to access that from this computer. It can't come there. It's only for phones and iPads. Oh, Cassandra says she's got the message that I have a turtle like alien beings as guides, protectors? Anyone else ever heard of this kind of beings? Well, there's probably every single kind of life we have on Earth, there's probably some corresponding alien life to it, right? Spirit guides. Turtles. Turtles are nice. They're interesting animals. You know, if turtles would have become extinct with the dinosaurs, because they were around during dinosaur times. So turtles and alligators and crocodiles were all around during dinosaur times. But if they would have been extinct, we would be looking at their bones going, wow, look at this alligatorosaurus. Wow, that must have been. Oh, look at this turtlesaurus. That must have been pretty. Look how big that thing is, that shell. We would be just mystified. So we're pretty lucky to have those still around to look at. So some animals were around during dinosaur times. Also, you know, when you listen to birds, especially like crows, they sound like raptors, like velociraptors or something, don't they? Or what they might sound like. I'm not sure what kind of spirit guides I have. I do have some advice on choosing a path in life. And this comes from my infinite wisdom. When choosing a path in life, try to avoid the psychopath. Yeah. When you're choosing a path in life, avoid the psychopath. That's pretty much my advice to you, to anybody. It's one of my quotables. You're welcome, you can quote that. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, I'm still working on the love bug design that I'm going to put on the store. So look for that too. Be able to get T-shirts and whatnot with the love bugs. I just have to finish the designs and what might be appropriate for this audience, for the love bugs. But yeah, I think that's kind of fun. Yes, there are elephant beings. I've heard that the elephant beings, they have snouts kind of like an elephant, but kind of like a walrus too, kind of like in between. But the longer they're here, the more they look like us. I guess. That's what I heard. I don't know. Dad joke number 1 of the night. Yeah, there you go. Everything woke turns to, yeah, I know. That's great. I love that from the big... mantids, huh? Mantids. Kind of like praying mantises. Yeah, that could be. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Well, okay. I think this is going to be a little bit too big and blurry, but I don't know if that's a good representation. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there it is. All right, I got some more pictures here to go through. How's that sound? So we talked about Billy Meyer. Billy Meyer is a very important character in this whole disclosure thing, because since the 70s, he's been having incredible visitations where they allow him to film craft. Yeah, all I know about the elephant beings is they're from some other planet, and maybe they're stranded here, but they're very combative. They like to fight, or some of them like to fight, and they're not very friendly to some people. And they're starting to look more like humans now and less like, because I guess each planet has like a template for life, and all life within the reach of that template conforms to that template. So over time, all life on Earth will sort of look like it's each other, no matter how different it was from the start. So that's all I know. And I don't know if it's true or not. So, but it's very interesting nonetheless. I mean, it's very interesting, you know, and I don't know if they're all, you know, angry fighters, but that's just what this one source was saying about what he knew about these things. So I don't know. I just don't know. Oh, I guess we need that light there. But okay, so let's do another screen share because those are magical and wonderful. So here's a Billy Meyer picture of actually two craft. Now the one on top looks a lot like the sport model, the one I saw. Looks very similar to it. The one below it almost looks like part of that same craft. I don't know. It's very interesting though. There's two in the same picture. So, and this was, I think, copied from a book. So the actual picture is much crisper than that. So yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Very interesting. Okay. Well, let's see. All right, I'm going to drop the link to call into the chat here. And I don't know if my buddy's going to call or not. Maybe I should call him. Maybe I should call him. I want to show you another picture here. There's another picture. It's not that clear, but it's a close-up picture of that. You're very welcome, you know. Hello, Paul. How you doing? Glad to see you here. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see here. Well, here's the one I showed in the last show. It's one of, oh, oops. Didn't mean to push that button. The share button's right near the end show button. I don't want that to happen. So there is that California drone from the other night, from the other show. Crystal clear picture of a strange craft just above the power lines. Very, very interesting, interdasting, I must say, for sure. You know, I wonder if I should call my buddy. Although maybe he's not ready to call in yet. We'll keep waiting. We'll keep waiting. But yeah, this thing is just incredible. And there's this crazy writing, this linguistics under it, which helps to make it work. It's just so bizarre. Isaac said that when he was in the room, when they first started, all these fresh faces, all these new people at this Palo Alto Carrot Laboratory, PACL Carrot Laboratory. And some people were there, you know, and they were mathematicians, physicists, engineers, all kinds of professional people, the smartest people. So anyway, so at one point, everyone is sitting there, they're listening to this pitch. We're looking for commercial applications for some of this technology. And the technology we're talking about is alien technology, not from Earth. And he said, you could have dropped a pin at that point. And he looked around and he was like, oh my God, does anybody else realize what this guy just said? And that was a big moment for him. Like that was the moment he found out we're not alone. His job was to figure out how this stuff worked and how to make some kind of application for a commercial product from this crazy stuff that no one could understand. But they did. Look what they built. They built this. It's incredible. So folks, the things that we are coming up with, even with some help, we're being denied. I mean, there might be some technologies within this. There are technologies within this, like something that would make an airplane never crash, okay? I think that's an important thing to bring forward, all right? If an airplane will never crash, if you could put something on an airplane to make it never crash, you know, I think we should. Oh, look, that's my buddy Max. Let's see. Hello, Max, is that you?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay.
How are you doing, Aaron?
Well, if I was doing any better, I'd be you. Let me turn down the music here. And maybe I'll just turn the music off. How's that sound?
That's good.
There.
So what's the topic of the moment?
Topic of the moment. Well, I know that you and I have been talking off air a little bit, and you told me that you had a friend that had eye problems, much like Andrew, and then that you went ahead and did some research on the human eye and found some very interesting things.
Oh yeah, there's so many things. I spent, I don't know, thousands of hours probably.
Wow.
Researching. But it's, this was just extraordinary things. The fluids in the eye are very advanced materials.
Mm-hmm.
They both the aqueous humor and the vitreous humor are polymers that respond to the vitamin C level.
Mm-hmm.
The aqueous humor is normally a free-flowing liquid, but at higher higher levels of vitamin C can transition to being a thick gel.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, the vitreous humor is normally a thick gel, but as you increase the vitamin C content, it goes to a free-flowing liquid.
Okay. Now you're talking about the vitreous humor. That's like inside the lens of your eye. Is this what that is?
Okay. Well, if you have put the top of the eye facing up, and the top of the eye. Let's put this a different way. The cornea that you'll look out through, if you stick that up, then about a third of the way down is the membrane that the lens sits in.
Oh, okay.
And in the front of that is the aqueous humor, and behind the lens is the vitreous humor.
Okay.
And it doesn't say this anywhere, but I came up with a theory about what's going on with this aqueous and vitreous humor when they change from free-flowing liquid to gel or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that there's in that membrane that the lens sits in, there's little slits around the outside edge called angle structures.
Okay.
And like when they say someone's got open angle glaucoma, it means those little slits are open, and
wow.
And nothing flows out the slits because behind it is the vitreous, which is a gel. Okay, but right immediately in front of those slits is a kind of a filter mesh all around the circumference of the eye, and behind that is a series of little tubes called the mesh is called the trabecular mesh, and then behind that it's called these little tubes that drain the fluid called Slim's canals.
Hmm.
And well, anyway, normally what happens is the angle structures and the Slim's canal are controlled, whether they're open or not, are controlled by something called nitric oxide and the level of that material. When it gets high, actually when it's normally fairly low, the Slim's canals are all open. If you increase it a little bit more, the slits open up.
Wow.
And normally, of course, the fluid in the front of the eye, of course, can just flow out as it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
To lower the pressure in the front of the eye. The problem is, the pressure is still high behind the lens in the vitreous area, and if you don't relieve that pressure, the membrane the lens sits in is kind of bows out forward in the forward direction, making you more nearsighted.
Hmm.
And it can be severe. Well, they don't. You can ask doctors about this. I asked it on behalf of my friend. How did they lower the pressure in the back of the eye? And they said, "Oh, we don't know. We don't have a means of lowering that pressure."
Wow.
And I said, "Well, what about the vitreous when it becomes a free-flowing liquid?" And they look at me like I'm crazy.
Really?
I said, "Surely you read the papers about that the vitreous can become a free-flowing liquid," and they said no.
Wow.
Certainly they're not aware of that. Well, so I have this theory then that when you increase the vitamin C level, and the fluid in the front, the aqueous becomes a gel, and then simultaneously the vitreous goes from a gel to a free-flowing liquid. that it can now flow out those slits and immediately go into the mesh and out the swims canal, allowing the pressure in the back of the eye to be relieved.
Wow.
And nobody said that. I looked to see if anybody's ever suggested any such thing. No, they have.
Wow. Well, you
So,
should write a paper on
try to
that.
help my friend, I might have discovered something of significance.
Hmm. I think so. Wow. That sounds really cool.
Well, the pressure in the back of the eye is important because when that pressure gets too high and it's combined with, there's two things are required. If that pressure is high and there's insufficient blood flow to the back of the eye where the retina is,
Mhm.
those two things, if they go together, causes I guess it's called a hormone called VEGF, capital VEGF,
Okay.
to be produced, and this material causes microcapillaries in the back of the eye to essentially grow. They're right behind the retina,
Mm-hmm.
and the problem with these microcapillaries, they're very fragile, so it's very easy for them to break, and they commonly do.
Wow.
Which can cause a major problem because you get blood behind the retina. Is like the consistency of saran wrap,
Mm.
and it's basically laying along the side of the eyeball to the back.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get blood behind that, it lets go. It no longer sticks to the side of the eyeball,
Oh, wow.
and then you have a detached retina.
Wow.
And there's two places something similar happens. VEGF actually happens in the heart structure too, where if you have some blockage of your heart, these little microcapillaries can grow around the blockage, which sounds like a great thing, except that when this happens, it indicates you have a condition in which you're about to have a heart attack.
Wow.
So, anyway, so I learned so much about the eye, and there's just incredible things that done. One guy found only one paper, never saw any follow-up or anything, said that there were little proteins on the back of the retina that he called tractor proteins.
Right.
The guy claimed that under certain conditions, which he did not elaborate on, these tractor proteins could pull a detached retina back into place.
Wow.
I thought that's pretty interesting. But he never gave enough information. He didn't say, like, what are the conditions under which it works.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, but so lots of things affect, of course, the health of the eye. And one of the major things is whether or not you have adequate blood flow to the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you're having cardiovascular problems, the rest of your body, it'll show up as manifest as problems in your eye. In general, given enough time.
Uh-huh.
And your eye is only one of the few places in the body that actually stores vitamin C.
Okay. And so you've said vitamin C is very important for the eyes, right?
Oh yeah. Your body, if you don't get enough vitamin C, your body will suck some of the vitamin C out of your eye.
Oh, really?
And when that happens, of course, your those polymers that those fluids in your eye that depend upon them no longer can protect the eye in a way they do.
Uh-huh.
Like one of the things that keeps your lens is a transparent polymer called transparent, and it's a dynamic thing. It's a lot of people think of the lens as just a static thing that, like a piece of plastic or something. But it's not. It's a piece of living tissue with fluids flowing through it. And when the vitamin C disappears or gets lower, then basically the bad things happen to the lens. It starts to get damaged, and it shows up as when the polymers, the reason they're transparent is because all the polymers are lined up. But as soon as they get jumbled up any place, then it shows up as it's the name of it's a cataract you get. It's just a place where it's no longer transparent anymore.
A cataract.
And you got a cataract, and that's in general. There's 4 things that lens needs to stay clear. It needs something called linosterol, which is one chemical step away from being cholesterol. Then there's calcium and vitamin C and something called glutathione, and all those things keep that lens transparent. When you don't have one or more of those ingredients, all of a sudden the lens starts to develop cataracts.
Wow.
And all kinds of things can affect that. Obviously, some dietary factors can affect that. If you have cancer or some inflammatory process in your body, it can cause it to not get the nutrients it needs, and it'll start to become non-transparent, But
wow.
the pressure of the eye is related directly to the pressure inside your head, called the intracranial pressure. So things that can happen to you in your head, you could have cancer, which causes swelling, and that would cause pressure and make your eye pressure go up. And it can sometimes a tumor in one part of the brain can cause the associated eye pressure on one side to go up. Also, if you have a pork tapeworm cyst, which you get by eating undercooked pork, it starts out as a tiny little cyst, starts growing. It's a tiny little worm that's very small, maybe a 1/4 inch long or something. But the immune system reacts and encases that little worm with a 2-inch diameter ball, and that 2-inch diameter ball inside the middle of your brain is pushing on everything.
Wow.
If you have more than one, it's life-threatening. So this is why you shouldn't ever have undercooked pork.
Well,
because it's very common.
I'm real glad I'm not eating meat anymore, because I don't have to worry about it.
Well, in the United States, it's relatively safe because of just modern practices of farming, but
Wow.
it's still something you have to be concerned about.
Yeah, it does say in the Bible too not to eat pork, right?
Yeah.
That's probably why.
But it doesn't elaborate why, but yeah.
Right.
At least that I know of. I never read any place where it told why, but
yeah. So, and I know that in the Jewish culture they have separate utensils, separate silverware for meat, and I don't think they can eat pork, or it has to be kosher or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, there's a religious thing about pork. Very interesting. It's also interesting too that a lot of times people get heart valves from pigs, which are pork. So
Oh yeah.
I wonder if part of the reason we're not supposed to eat pork or things happens because they're just too similar to us, you know.
Oh yeah. There's pigs are very close genetically to humans. I mean, not as close as mouse is to human, but
Really? A mouse? A mouse is
our closest relative genetically is the mouse. Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
The mouse.
Yeah.
Really? Our closest. Well, what about the chimpanzee?
No, strangely, they're not as close as the mouse.
Really?
Yeah.
That must be
Go figure. You know.
why how could that be? I mean, that's
Who knows? I don't know. I don't have those answers.
that's bizarre. That is, but you know so much about the eye. That's incredible.
Well,
So
if you get a little infection in your brain, and there's a common one called H. pylori or Helicobacter pylori. It's a bacteria, very common bacteria, can cause a brain-wide infection, and it causes your brain to swell, and that can cause the pressure in your eyes to continue to go up. And it's quite common. And H. pylori, in my research, is probably the #1 cause of cancer.
really?
Fortunately, that bacteria is one of the easiest to kill. But, the 5 main cancers associated with are stomach, colon, uterine, pancreatic, and liver. But there's a whole lot of others that also are less directly connected to that bacteria. And what happens is when you get it in one of those, it usually starts in one of those 5 places I said, and then spreads via the lymphatic system all over the body.
Wow.
And now a bad sign if you've got one of those cancers that things are going very bad for you is when it starts to spread. A lot of times you'll get what's the name of that itchy rash that you get that they try to get you to take a vaccine for.
Poison ivy? No. Itchy?
Somebody probably knows what it is. Shingles.
Shingles. Oh, okay.
If you got one of those cancers and you get shingles, that's a bad sign, because that shingles likes to travel through the lymphatic system. And typically when you have shingles, it means that the cancer is spreading. And the cancers are related. Whether this cancer is in remission or in full-on spread mode, they have ways of detecting that. If you look the zinc to copper ratio in the blood, when that ratio is high, meaning you got a lot of zinc relative to copper, the cancer is in remission.
Okay.
When that ratio is low, meaning you got high copper related to, in comparison to zinc, you get full-on spread mode.
Uh-oh.
And we said, well, why are they related? Those two metals are related like that. Well, when you take in one metal, your body lets go another. So if you want to increase that ratio to put things in remission, you want to take in more zinc, and the zinc, your body lets go of the copper and takes up more zinc. So, you can find these things by reading, of course, the copper to zinc ratio and lymphatic cancer.
Interesting.
That's the main cancer associated with it, spreading through the lymph system.
Now,
There's so many.
what's your opinion on colonoscopy? I mean, I heard that people are saying now that's kind of a dangerous. Oh, by the way, I want to mention right now that nothing you hear here can be construed as medical advice. We're just talking about subjects.
No, this is just things that I've read and whatever. This is just research stuff.
Yeah, always look.
And none of it that I've mentioned here is original research. Meaning, this is just something you can read in the books.
Okay,
you know?
Great. Yeah, and always ask your doctor before you try anything. So there we go.
Oh yeah, I'm not suggesting.
No, I'm just I'm just I know they look for stuff like this, so I'm trying to cover the bases here, make sure that we're all copacetic with the community standards that we don't know what they are.
I'm just not giving medical advice here. I'm just
right
telling people what I've learned about cancer. Interesting things that it does, and if the great thing about this, if somebody suspects that they might have one of these cancers, that one of the things they can do is get their doctor to give them a test for H. pylori, it's common bacteria, and the test unfortunately costs about $700.
Wow.
Blood test. But there's clues. If you got an ulcer in your stomach, then you have H. pylori.
Wow.
Because one guy got a Nobel Prize for giving it. They couldn't get anybody to believe me. He was a scientist. That this bacteria causes stomach ulcers, and nobody would believe him. So he gave himself H. pylori, and then he got an ulcer, and then they gave him the Nobel Prize.
Oh wow! He was the guinea pig.
Yeah, he was his own guinea pig. Yeah.
Oh, Madam Curie too, right? Wasn't Madam Curie had to be buried in a lead coffin because she was so radioactive, right? That's what I heard.
Some of the dangers, especially of the older days, right? We didn't know the dangers of things that we do today.
Right. You just kept taking X-ray after X-ray after X-ray. Wow, look at that.
Right.
Oh, look, now my hand is falling off. We've X-rayed it too many times.
There's an interesting thing. If somebody, when you mentioned X-rays, they've now discovered how to make a portable X-ray machine.
Oh, really?
One that only weighs 5-10 pounds.
Wow.
Most X-ray machines require really heavy electromagnets and whatever, so they might weigh 1,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not portable unless you're Superman, I guess.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, they discovered there's a group of people that look for essentially high energy physics occurring from mundane processes in nature. And what they discovered in this particular case, and nobody accepted it immediately, the guy had to prove it, that when you take masking tape and you pull the tape off the roll, you hear that noise?
Sure.
As you're pulling off the tape?
Yeah.
That it's actually producing X-rays.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
Who would think they would produce X-rays? You just pull off tape,
Wow.
So to prove that, the guy built this little chamber that creates a vacuum, and he's got basically a motor that is unrolling the tape off of one roll and putting it on another roll, like a reel-to-reel tape machine, right?
Sure.
And he can turn it on and starts and evacuates the space in there, so there's no air in there. And he demonstrated this. You can find this on the internet. And he demonstrated this. He put his hand on top of that. There's a piece of glass, and he took an X-ray of his hand that way. And but since that time, they've been looking at all kinds of other things that where nature produces high energy beyond our comprehension as to how it could be doing it, you know?
Wow. I wonder
So
what
it's a very
tape
interesting subject.
if tape does that. I wonder if Velcro might do that.
Anything that makes these noises like that,
Could be. Interesting.
it's unreal.
Interesting. Wow. Fascinating.
Well, you know that you've heard of. I don't know. You probably heard of sonoluminescence. It's called. Oh, by the way, if you hear that snapping noise in the background, I'm sitting in my garage.
Yeah.
Because I left the garage door. I had the garage door open at the wrong time of the day, and the mosquitoes came
Oh, yeah.
rushing in, and so I have actually a little bug zapper in the garage so that I can get the mosquitoes down before I open the door and let them in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a TV out here, and it's relatively cool.
That's
and
cool.
a fan, and you probably hear a fan.
Yeah.
Sounds like I'm in the wind tunnel, probably in a wind tunnel once in a while.
I don't hear a thing. No, it sounds good.
Listen, see, you probably hear it now.
A little bit.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we got pretty big mosquitoes out here too in Wisconsin. Actually, the mosquito is the state bird here. That's the state bird. That's how big they are. That's how big they are.
But I counted about 40 so far that came in just from opening the door for, I don't know, 10 minutes. Open the garage door.
Wow. Yeah, they congregate. They can come pretty quickly.
So I'm actually sitting in the dark so that the only sources of light in here are the television and the bug zapper, hoping that they'll go toward the light. Is that?
So sonoluminescence, that's sonic. That's sound, light from sound. Is that what you're saying, right?
Right.
So
Right.
now that's really interesting because years ago, Corey Good was talking about how he was on this base somewhere or some colony or wherever, and there was lighting in this hallway or in this building, and he couldn't see any lights. And he said, "How are you doing your lights here?" And they said, "Oh, we get all of our lights from sound waves." So and there is a couple companies here in America now working on producing light using sound. So that's interesting.
I don't know if anybody has heard those. They've got these little portable alarms that you can get. It's really high pitched that you can carry with you, and if somebody's attacking you, you could turn it on. It's super high pitch. Well, that's has something called a piezoelectric transducer in it.
Okay.
And if you take that and put it, if you have a spherical flask full of water, and don't put the water under vacuum. You want all the trace gases left in the water. If you put it under vacuum, you pull all those gases out. Well, you need these gases for sonoluminescence. But you put these piezoelectric transducers around that spherical flask, and you turn them all on at the same time. All that sound goes through the water, and then when it gets in the middle, there's no place for it to go, right?
Yeah.
It encounters the other sound waves coming toward the center, and that creates a local pressure that's extreme, and then it lights up. Now, they claim that at that center where that light's produced, it's the temperature of the sun.
Oh, wow. Now, hold on a second. I got a question for you about this sonoluminescence. Now, when you bite, I think it's a winter mint lifesaver or something, and you chew on it, it will light up in your mouth. Is that sort of like the same thing? Is that the same type of thing? The sound is actually doing that?
Yeah, I think it is. There's some kind of reaction. I read it somewhere. I'm trying to remember what it was. that when you squeeze it in those things, it produces light.
Okay.
So that might be one of those processes that's a mundane process that produces extraordinary energy.
Wow. Interesting. I also remember reading years ago, maybe decades ago even, that scientists were studying, things that glow, like glowworms and,
Mhm.
fireflies and things like this. And they found out that a living organism needs three different chemicals to create this glowing effect. And all living things already have two of them. So they were theorizing a couple decades ago that, they might be able to make trees glow, and then you'd have a glowing tree instead of a street light. And that, okay, hey mom, can I go out and play? We're playing at night baseball. Yep, take your glow pill and you can go out and play. So if living things already have two of the elements, you only need one more of the elements. I can't remember what they were, but have you ever heard anything like that?
Well, there are chemicals in the body that are definitely capable of producing light. In fact, there's theories out there that says that, most of the advanced healing modalities are related to our body is signaling, all the cells are signaling each other using light.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a claim that's been made. And of course, you brought that interesting thing up about the 40 hertz light
Mm-hmm.
causing things to happen in the human brain. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And if we understand that, well, you think of it on the most fundamental level, all we are is organized light.
Yeah.
Matter is, okay. And then there's these theories that I put forward that the essence of our soul is a two-dimensional superconductor, and I like to think that the Bible even tells us about how our soul is glowing when we come in contact with the divine. The Curlian photography, how they can take pictures of our aura.
Yeah.
Is actually low level resonance of our soul that it's picking up. And as we develop and as we become higher spiritual beings, that glow grows. Like when Moses went on top of the mountain to get the 10 Commandments, when he came down off the mountain, he was glowing.
Mm-hmm.
He was in presence of the divine, and the idea is that when he came in presence of the divine, it caused his soul to resonate.
Mm-hmm.
And so he glowed, okay, and so that's what would probably happen to us at any kind of ascension event. We will glow like that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in response to a solar flash, and there's papers out there to show that consciousness, not just in humans, but in all at least all the living beings, occurs at terahertz frequencies. Like anesthesia works by blocking by blocking the interaction of terahertz frequencies with part of our brain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's certain chemicals will do that and cause essentially the anesthesia to work, right? So, and so when you hear yourself think, you're hearing that's actually your soul is what you're hearing. Our physical body is much less important,
Mm-hmm.
So the ancient Hindus talk about their stories of how we ascend and say that, you know, we're at the stage, there's 7 levels of ascension in their stories. They say, you know, matter, like stars and the sun and other things are the first level, right? Matter and rocks and the earth and whatever. We start there. That's where we start, and then the next level of ascension is to non-sentient plants and animals. You know, all plants and dogs, cats, mice, bugs, everything, right? And then from there we rise to level 3, which is what we're in, and then of course this level is governed by rules like, and these are rules I've added. This is not what the Hindus talk about. I said that we live in the age of scarcity, the economics of scarcity, where we got people controlling us on the basis of, you know, scarce resources. Scarce, they allocate money to us. They control us and say you have to work in order to get this money. Then you have to work 2 jobs to make this money to survive. And it's all about controlling resources. And of course, it's all part of a learning process. It's all part of an advanced training program for our soul. Even evil exists according to the Hindus. It's just to aid our development of our soul. I mean, to us, it's very real and very dangerous and right, exposed to people that are evil, right? But in the bigger scheme, you know, a soul can't be destroyed.
Right.
You know, you never die.
Exactly. We never die. That's why you should
never
never be afraid of death.
The essence,
Nothing can kill you.
The essence of what you are, it never dies. Never.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So they can't really hurt you. Okay. And then they say the next level we go to is level 4, which is the level I think we're at that transition. In level 4, you now you can control as whether or not you take a corporeal body or you just as your light body, you know, your soul. And that you'll have a task using both. And I'm just speculating, they don't elaborate, but I speculate that sometimes at that level, we'll go out and maybe agree to help somebody on another planet by showing up there. And when they ask for our help, we can give it, you know, we can tell them some things that they might try to do and to better themselves, and things to watch out for, and watch out for people that are trying to control you and feed you disinformation, and you know. So we'll be playing roles in other people's development.
We'll probably have to tell them, don't fall for that mask thing.
Yeah, things like that. But we'll also be fighting the similar things now on a galactic scale of galaxies. Like we'll be hunting down human trafficking and stopping it. You know, in other solar systems. You know, using lessons that we learned and what we experience here. And of course, we'll be traveling, and then we'll enter into the economics of abundance because the resources are so vast in just our solar system alone. Once we are actually accessing the wealth from that, we're capable of building colonies and things on a massive scale, and the relative wealth far exceeds for every man, living man, woman, and child is massive by comparison to what we experience today. And so our basic needs will be met.
Okay.
in
That sounds,
our local part of the solar system.
that sounds great. Now, Max, hold on a second. Hold that thought for a second, because some people in the audience, Dark Brain just joined us. Who is the guest? That's Maxwell Smart. Maxwell Smart, a very smart guy, friend of mine. And he's got a lot of knowledge. So I'm very grateful that he's here sharing this with us. Also, Mud Rabbit asks, I have a question for him. Has he read the Cassiopean material?
No, I haven't. Of course, I'm intrigued by anything they have to add, certainly.
Okay. Well, there's your answer. He hasn't read it yet. It's probably gonna be on his list now.
You look at, the whole idea, as above, so below kind of idea, right? That, what we experienced in the large is actually repeated in the small, the patterns, like a fractal.
Of course, yeah.
So now when we enter this bigger space where we're going to be traveling and dealing with galaxies, we might have relative abundance in our local level of space when we get to this next level. But as we travel out, there's going to be competition for resources, right? Because there's other civilizations there that are going to say, no, you can't travel in our area unless you have something to offer, right? So it'd be more like the control structures we're used to, right? They'll say it's because, again, it's kind of non-local scarcity. So we'll still be dealing with some aspect of scarcity. And there'll be wars and things fought over. It's like in Star Trek, wars and things fought over by people trying to compete. They're creating empires, right? Like the Klingon Empire. They're creating empires and collecting the resources of, 10 solar systems. Let's say those are ours, right?
Yeah.
And the whole purpose is to say those are our resources.
Wow.
So we'll have other issues of scarcity, but it will be at a different scale than what we've been used to. And
well, I think that the scarcity we're experiencing right now is a scarcity of common sense, right?
yeah, it certainly seems that way here in our bizarro world.
Oh, Major Facepalm asks, at Aaron, so is 99 going to be your next guest next time? LOL. Yeah, that would be nice. We're going to put out a call out to 99 to come in and talk on the Truth Quest. We'll see if we can find out some information. So what other little tidbits of knowledge do you have that you'd like to share with our friends here? Something they might not have heard other places. You've got a lot of very interesting takes on a lot of things.
Well, I just wanted to finish on one little bit on this idea I was going on. It was level. We're level 3, getting ready to go to level 4. Then Hindus say that evil only exists on levels up to level 5. And when you get, like I said, evil's a training aid, and evil's recycled back. And we probably all played the role of evil many, many times in many of our lives. Okay, so don't think you're better than anybody else.
Speak for yourself, Max.
We've all played the bad guy plenty of times.
No. I like playing the good guy better.
We all played the deep state actors many times,
Yeah.
So, but that's the process of learning. That's how we ascend ultimately. And anyway, so above level 5 are beings of such a high ascension level that they're like Jesus, and other figures like that they're one step away from rejoining with the source consciousness. That's according to the Hindu belief. And but I found it interesting. I'd say our level of technology is the age of the electron. You think about everything in our modern technological life is related in one way or another to the movement of electrons.
Okay.
And there's a theory out there called supersymmetry in physics, which says that there are other fundamental particles like the electron. They have the same charge as the electron, but they're just bigger and heavier.
Mm-hmm.
Like the next one up is called the muon, which is 210 times the mass of the electron. And the one above that is called the tau, T-A-U, which is 1,776 times the mass of the electron. Which is interesting, and it has that number. These are patterns that repeat in nature, you know?
Yeah, wow.
But anyway, I claim that the level of technology we're moving into, what are the clues that we are about to send? Well, one of those clues is where we are in this cycle. We're like, this level of ascension typically takes about 25,000 years, and man's close to the end of that period.
Mm-hmm.
And also, man's technology has suddenly reached the point where, even though we're not told it, we have the ability to travel to the stars. Okay? And we have that ability because of our mastery of a new technology, which is the muon. And you can do some research about Colonel Corso's work that talked about one of the things they found aboard the Roswell craft was a muon generator.
Okay.
And what's the purpose of the muon? Well, without getting too specific here, how you, in a generic terms, how you make anti-gravity is this. You know, we know how to make a laser, we have a number of electrons, right, that gain a quantum of light, and they go up to the next highest energy level. And as soon as when they're at this higher level, they rapidly give off light and fall back down, right? So if you stimulate enough of these electrons up to a higher level, and they all drop down at the same time, you get the action of a laser. Hmm. Well, the next step of technology is when you have this thing called a Cooper pair, which is two electrons that are kind of bound together, and they form a Cooper pair, and the Cooper pair is the basis for superconductivity. A superconductor is based on these Cooper pairs. Well, to raise a Cooper pair to a higher energy state, it doesn't take normal, it takes a specific frequency of light, which is the terahertz frequencies, okay? Incidentally, the frequency of consciousness, okay? And to achieve this terahertz frequency easily, one can use muons. Muons will pump the Cooper pairs to a higher energy level, and if you pump enough of them up to a higher level, when they all come crashing down again, the result is gravity waves. So I've just given people.
Interesting.
I've just given people. They'll probably take a long time for them to prove it to themselves that what I've told them is the truth. But that is the essence of how we produce anti-gravity.
Wow.
For the spacecraft. That's what's being used today. In the Roswell craft, you had an inner layer which did this, which contained aluminum with iridium atoms monatomic iridium atoms in its transdimensional state. And these things, when muons hit them, these are 2D superconductors, the iridium atoms. And so when the muons hit it, they go to higher state. And because it's a superconductor, it's the Cooper pairs that go to the higher state, and they release gravity. And you're inside a spherical ship, just for simplicity. Now this external gravity is produced around you, and it shields you from the gravity of all other objects in the space around you. And so you lose all inertia.
Right. Wow.
Now, there's a good way of thinking of this. If you Anybody know how a metal detector works, or even more simply than that, how a transformer works? Okay, if you have a coil on a transformer, say what's called the primary coil, you got alternating current flowing through this coil, right? And say you have 100 volts AC going through this coil, and there's 10 turns on the primary coil. It's producing a particular magnetic field that's reversing, right? Because it's alternating current going through it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this induces a current in the secondary coil, and if there are twice as many turns, you get twice the voltage. So if you started out with 100 volts, and now the secondary coil has 200 volts. You say, well, how is that related? Well, the power remains the same. So power is voltage times current. So let's say the 100 volts had 1 amp going through it. So you got 100 volts times 1 amp is 100 watts of power. And so the 200 volts that you create in the secondary has to have the same power. So 200 times what equals 100? Well, it's times 0.5. So the current's half as much. Okay.
Wow.
Well, when you induce a field in a coil, a magnetic field will induce a field in another coil that's in the opposite direction, and the field it creates tries to push back on the field that created it.
Mm-hmm.
When you use a metal detector, there's a big, the big ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that does is produce a field, and that field penetrates through the ground until it reaches a metal object, where that field induces a field in that metal object, and the field is going the opposite direction of the field that you just hit it with.
Hmm.
So that field's opposing it, and you have another coil inside that metal detector that picks up the field created by the metals, and that's how it detects the metal. Now, but that field is pushing back. Now imagine instead of electromagnetics or a magnetic field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now think of all the matter in the universe as creating a gravitational field. So all that matter of the universe is pushing back on us and our gravitational field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's opposing it. It's producing a force. What is that force? That's what we call inertia. All that mass collectively pushing against us keeps us from moving quickly in any one direction. Think of what a gyroscope does. When you set up a gyroscope, you can't move it as freely as before. That's because any spinning mass does this to a small extent, alters inertia. Okay, now, in this example I just gave you how to create anti-gravity, you're inside this spherical thing where you create a field artificially on the outside of the spherical shell you're in. You suddenly cut off yourself from the inertia of the rest of the universe pulling on you. Everything inside that, including the metal ship sphere that you're sitting inside of, is free of any kind of inertia.
Right.
Which means if you can provide any kind of force, you can travel without any resistance.
Wow.
So, but you have anti-gravity, in that particular case. You're cut off from you're inertialess. To get the propulsion, you have to use there's another layer that they discovered in the Roswell craft. That was a layer of alternating bismuth and then magnesium zinc alloy. And these layers when these gravity waves come out of the inner layer and hit this, they create a force, and that propels the inertialess bubble inside to faster than light speeds, you know? And it's scalar waves. I won't go into all that right now. That's a concept that takes a little more time to explain, but what I'm getting at, okay, we're entering into the age of the muon, where all our technologies in this next level of ascension are going to be based on the muon rather than the electron. And the reason we can only do so much with it now, the muon has a very short lifetime. In fact, it lasts like 9 seconds in our atmosphere.
Okay.
And then it falls apart to an electron and a neutrino. Okay. But I'll give you an idea of one of the technologies that come from this. The muon laser. When we can harness muons, we can make a laser instead of a laser based on electrons. It's based on muons. What happens is the muons come out of the laser and because of their mass, they'll produce 210 times more energy per muon than an electron. So you can instantaneously get 200 times the energy in a particular area, okay? This is going to allow us, a muon laser is going to give us the ability to cut through solid rock.
Wow.
That's what a muon laser is going to do for us. And I mentioned that these transdimensional monatomic elements exist in nature everywhere, about 20%. They're totally invisible to us. And I theorize that what we're seeing in the Shroud of Turin, and that they can't analyze and find anything, are these transdimensional materials, which ultimately make up our soul anyway. Okay. That there's other technologies that are related to the muon, and that sometime I can go into identified 10 or 12 technologies I think that we're going to have soon. Okay. Probably the Secret Space Force already has some of these.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, the age of the muon is the level 4 we're going into. And these technologies are so vast and so powerful that this is one of the reasons we have to ascend at this time in the development of our species, because if you don't deal with evil, and the evil continues to exist at this point, as far as what we're used to, it could easily destroy everything. And that's not the way it's designed to be. It's designed to be that evils are just there as a training aid, you know? So it's not allowed. They're not allowed to win, basically.
That's good.
It's structured so good always wins in the end, right?
It always does, yeah, in the end.
It always does. It may take us longer to get there, right? There's things that can upset the apple cart so that we wouldn't ascend yet. It's only a matter of time, okay? Eventually, all people at this same level ascend.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't have to go through another 25,000 year cycle, and maybe up to 10,000 lives during that time before they get their next chance to ascend again.
So
don't screw it up.
Some people will ascend, and some people will land on their ass end, right?
Yeah. Some people graduate, and some people, we're graduating effectively from kindergarten on a relative scale. And, but there'll be people who have to go back and do kindergarten over again. The bad people right now have to do, all of them, most of them have to redo it over again. Unfortunately, according to the law of one, and the Hindus say that the worst of the worst that we've dealt with get to go with us. If they're 95% service to self, they get to send to this next level.
Wow. That's
So we're going to see the likes of Hillary and all these bad people, Soros and whatever.
Mm.
Unfortunately, those people go with us.
wow.
But
Interesting.
but we've dealt with them. They're going to be a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like an insurmountable problem. And if you don't let fear take over, we know you win there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all about learning. It's all about growing. It's all about dealing with problems and advancing and, you know, treating other people right and, you know, service to others, you know.
Yeah.
It's the same types of things. Well, anyway, the next level beyond that, I contend that the age of the muon, this next level, are going to give us the ability to travel anywhere in the universe. Okay. I contend the next level is the age of the Tau. That's the level 5, the last level to which evil can exist. This is going to give us, I contend, the control over what I call supergravity. Okay, and supergravity will allow us to be able to travel between universes. And it'll be the age of the Tau in terms of technological, what's going to drive our technology.
Mm-hmm.
These are going to be the UFOs that are seen out there that, you know, that are just so far above us that we can't even fathom. But if I'm right, I've given you one thing about how their technology works. That it's based upon manipulation of the Tau.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
anyway.
Wow. Well, I'm awfully glad for the chat because Major Facepalm is keeping track of all of my dad jokes. I've got 2 dad jokes so far this evening, so doing pretty good there.
2 bad jokes?
Dad jokes.
Gag?
Dad, like a father, dad.
Oh, dad jokes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they call bad jokes now. They call bad jokes dad jokes.
Okay.
Because I guess lots of dads tell jokes for some reason.
Yeah.
There's
What we were calling earlier, we call him his vitreous humor.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So,
Virtuous humor. Yeah.
yeah.
Vicious humor. Yeah.
Vicious humor, yeah.
Humor is what makes the world go round. You know, I gotta say, I for a while I had to, you know, turn myself around and boy, that's what it's all about, you know. Doing the hokey pokey. Gotta do that hokey
That's for all of
pokey.
them.
That's
Well, so here's the thing to remember is that if we are essentially one cell in the mind of God, meaning our consciousness, we're part of God. We're part of the consciousness of God, and we're using the transdimensional force, which is love. We're already capable, if we knew how to do it, of time travel.
Mm-hmm.
All of it. That's a neat part of our abilities, because it's transdimensional means it's not bound by space and time. And so I contend, you know, the essence of what we are has that ability. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we in a very real sense, and in some of the ancient religious texts, and I heard this on David Wilcox's shows on Ascension, point out that at this time there will be beings on our planet, humans, that are going to develop certain degrees of supernatural powers,
Mm-hmm.
which will be equivalent of saying, you know, we're going to be like superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't say the specifics of who that's going to happen for or to, or, you know, so it's intriguing in that regard, but we all have that ability. We're all superheroes training, which I don't like to use that because somebody pointed out if you make an take that and take the first letter of all that, it doesn't say there's good things there. But
okay.
Anyway, but we are the superheroes. All of us.
Yeah.
Every one of us.
Yeah.
That's why we're becoming ultimately, ultimately, when we get to the highest level, join the source, where we have attained all the power we ascribe to God. That all the things like now, the placebo effect is a manifestation of our connection to the source. And it's truly the power of the patriot. I came up with this model, this consciousness tool, and it sounds kind of cornball. I think I've explained it to you once, but
okay.
Our intention really does have power.
Yes, it does.
Okay, now that's the whole idea of this consciousness tool. Consider for the minute that God is infinite light, right? Infinite power of light, right? And God sits at the top of the family tree, and under that, well, for this example, let's consider that there are 201 patriots, 200 patriots underneath God in this family tree in the beginning, and there's one that's connected to the source still, which is we call Lucifer. Okay, and let's just say for the moment that this energy, this connection between it, is simultaneously we could call God's will, which each one of us have part of God's will, which we call free will. And then there's light, right? And let's say each of us have 1 watt of light power, right? And so does Lucifer start out with 1 watt of power, right? 1 watt of power. And then and the connection is a transdimensional force of creation called love. And we can relate that to other things later, and I do that later, related to the Higgs field, the Higgs boson.
Yeah.
The Higgs field is what takes energy and gives it mass. Okay? So we'll go into that later. But I'm trying to show you this model of consciousness has incorporated into it all the things I just told you about, the anti-gravity, matter, and I'll only point out parts of it and then leave the rest for another time. But
sure.
Okay, so we start out with this 200 patriots, right? And let's say 100 of those patriots say, you know what, this guy Lucifer has made a compelling case that if we come over and give up our control over our free will, and another name for control is dominion. We give up the dominion over our free will to Lucifer, i.e., we give up our freedom, our free will dominion to Lucifer. That he'll make everything good for us and give us wealth and everything we want. And so say 100 of these patriots decide to give up their connection to the direct connection to source, right? And say we're going to put ourselves underneath Lucifer, under his family tree, right? We got to give up our light to Lucifer, and say 100 of them choose to do that, right? And so now Lucifer's got 101 watts of power, right? And he's feeling pretty smug about that, right? Says, I got more power than any of them. There's no way they can do anything to me, right? And so the patriots are over here, the 100 patriots that are still left connected to the source, saying, well, what is it we can do? Here's Lucifer's got 101 watts. We all combined, even we combined all of us somehow, we only have 100 watts. But the real power of the patriot is in working together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the first lesson of technology comes into play. Okay, think of us each as like an electron. We absorb quanta of God's light or love, and we raise and we're working together to a higher energy state.
Mm-hmm.
And if one electron goes to a higher energy state, it immediately falls back down and gives off light, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if all the patriots decide to work together and all choose the same to enlightenment, they all raise to this higher state and they drop down at the same time, giving what? A laser.
Mm.
The output's a laser. Now, Lucifer over saying, well, so what? You made a laser.
Mm-hmm.
Says, yeah, but okay, which one do you want to go into battle with? You want to be Darth Vader with a 101 watt light bulb, or would you like a 100-watt laser?
Mm-hmm.
Which do you think's going to win? It only takes a 5-watt laser or less to beat a 100-watt light bulb, 101-watt light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
So the power of the patriot can defeat, Lucifer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the power of the patriot is really understanding that we are part of God. It's understanding that when we put out our intention, we have all the power of God behind us.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we don't give up our connection to Source. Okay. So I ever heard that was on the Ben and Rob show.
Okay.
Can't remember the name of their channel. I know you do know
Edge of Wonder.
Edge of Wonder. Look at go back to their time travel episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, there's already a couple real big gems in there. That if you think about it, it's important. But anyway, so how do you activate a laser? If I put a laser on the table in front of you, what would you do to turn the thing on? Well, first of all, you got to locate a source of power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You say, okay, it's got a cord on it. I got to find a place to plug this thing into, right?
Right.
Okay. And then the next thing you got to do is turn on the power, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to put the laser to some kind of a task. Well, in this consciousness tool, the source is, of course, God. And to activate the source, you praise God. That's the first step. That's how I define this consciousness tool. The first step is to praise God. Just say that, or say it or think it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Praise God. The second step to turn on the free will love laser is to say love. That's the power of creation flowing from God. That's simultaneously God's will, our free will, and love and light at the same time.
Wow.
Okay? That's the source that's the flowing energy. Okay? So, but the best way of doing this is to imagine, say you watch something on television and something brought you to such tears of joy. Remember that feeling. That feeling is the connection to source. That's what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That is the power of God flowing through you.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So when you remember that, the better you can remember that when you do this next step, you say love, or you can either say love or infinite love. And one way I remember is euphoria of love, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can remember that euphoria you felt, that is actually that love. Okay. The better you can picture that is important because and then the third step is what are you going to do with this laser? And that's where you set the intention, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about this consciousness tool, anybody who elects to use it actually is contributing to the power of every other patriot that's also put an intention into this free will love laser.
Wow.
And because it's powered by love, it cannot be subverted or used for evil purposes.
Beautiful.
Okay, so the first intention that I put out there, I gave a lot of thought. What would be creating this? And this is where people are thinking, oh, this is cornball, whatever. No, you don't realize this really works. Okay, and when you realize it works, then you will be a believer too. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, just like anything, your conscious mind doesn't believe things. It takes you, but you tell your subconscious something, and you let it do its job, and eventually it shows you something in front of your eyes that you can no longer deny, and then suddenly your conscience comes along for the ride. It's, oh wow, that's real. You know? Okay, well anyway.
Sounds pretty accurate.
I digress. Okay, so the first intention that I came up with, what thing could I do? What intention could I put out there in this conscious tool would have the greatest effect, not just on all mankind, but the entire multiverse?
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a tall order to think. What would you do? What would you say? Well, here's what I came up with. And I immediately came out under attack after I did this. I said, my intention is to release all of those contracts that control any of the souls attached to Lucifer or to any other control structures. My intention is to cut those contracts and restore all those souls' connection to Source.
Wow.
And that's what I put the first intention on this consciousness tool. And as soon as I did that, I came under attack, but you'd never believe. I didn't know what to do at first because bugs, mosquitoes were going up my nose as faster than I knew what to do with it.
Oh my God.
And I could not stop it. I had to keep my mouth shut because I coughed and couldn't breathe. But they still go up my nose. And I kid you not, Aaron, over the course of an evening, I built up a layer of mosquitoes on the back of my tongue, a half an inch thick.
Oh my God. That's horrifying.
It was terrifying, beyond terrifying. And I had to show this to my friends for them to believe it. Okay?
Wow.
And this would happen anywhere I go. I went into a restaurant, right, where there should be a lot of mosquitoes in a restaurant, right?
Right.
These were not normal mosquitoes. They were like trans-dimensional mosquitoes.
Okay.
It was a supernatural attack. And I had a friend that didn't believe me. I said, I'm going to show you something just to show it's happening right now. Okay? So I said, watch, I'm going to put a white piece of paper between my nose, behind my nostrils so you can see. And look carefully, and you'll see this steady stream of mosquitoes going straight up my nose.
Wow.
And he couldn't see it really without the paper, but as soon as I put white paper there, he could see it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had to wear, this happened not this last summer, but the summer before when I did this. And I had to wear a mosquito netting the entire summer.
Wow.
And if I went in front of any fan or air source, it would push these mosquitoes like arrows through the pores of that netting.
Oh my God.
And they'd be inside the netting with me. Of course, so now I'm dealing with them again.
Oh man. Oh.
Well, the only thing that gave me reprieve from that was the teachings that Praying Medic puts out there.
Okay. He's great.
Where I learned some of the tools of how to take authority over yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, thank God for him and his understanding and teaching, because it's what gave me my life back, essentially. Yeah, I know I've said all that stuff. It sounds preposterous. I know that. I can only ask you to consider that it's true. And I'm saying that any one of you can choose to have your intentions added to the free will love laser, this consciousness tool. You only have to do 3 things. And once you've done, I made it when I created this, I made it such that the only thing you have to do could be, well, permanently until you decide otherwise, connected to the free will love laser, is to do those 3 things. You have to acknowledge the source, right, by saying, praise God. You turn on the laser by saying love, infinite love, or euphoria of love, or picturing that in your mind, right? That feeling that you got, the euphoria. Okay? Then finally give an intention to the consciousness tool. And then you're utilizing all the power of every patriot in the multiverse.
Wow.
It's transdimensional, so it cuts across all time and all space.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's incredible. When you were telling that story about the mosquitoes, something struck me that I don't know if you've thought of this before, but maybe it was also a sign to you, because what kind of animals eat mosquitoes? Frogs. What's the symbol of the movement here? Peppy the Frog.
Oh,
Maybe
there was an interesting thing. One other thing happened. There only one time in my life that I saw a ghost or an apparition. I was at a friend's house, and we saw. I saw this thing go through her kitchen counter, just walk right through it.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything, and she turns to me and looks at me and says, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Well, see what?" You know, I don't act like I didn't see, you know? She said, "I just saw someone walk right through there." And I said, "Well, really, what did it look like?" And I said, "Well, I did see it." And well, this woman, her father was an ordained minister. And so that's the only time that I'd seen an apparition in my life until that time when I did this with the mosquitoes. Right before this onslaught, this being, it looked like a young guy, kind of a young guy with facial hair all over, right? Beard, not a long beard, but a sort of long beard, maybe stuck down 3 inches below. It was black, and then facial hair over the lip and around and up the face. And this being I didn't have a bottom half. It's kind of like a ghostly figure, and it came in front of me and says, "I want you to die, die, die."
Oh my God.
And that's what set off all the mosquito thing, you know.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And I just calmly said, "Be gone, get out of here. I don't have time for this." And it floated off, you know.
Wow.
So what was that? I don't know.
Interesting.
Obviously wasn't something good.
Right. Wow. Wow. That's bizarre.
So anyway, so I you know, now here's what I'd like to do. If anybody would like to do this, I'm going to put it to a task and see if we can't achieve something quickly that would convince people that this really works. And what I'm proposing is putting out an intention to change the course of the human events. I contend this has already happened. We've already done this. Enough patrons have already done this or will do this, that it changes. It's what guarantees that we win. Okay. Okay. But if they want to do that, if anybody wants to do that, put praise God in the chat and see if there's anybody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that right now. We won't do it, and then.
Well, let's see.
Then,
I'll look at the chat here.
I don't have to know how many, as long as there's one.
Okay.
But if there's more than one to do this, of course, the power is magnified. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be profound. What I'm going to put, the attention I'm going to put out there, is going to be profound and specific. And when it happens,
Praise God. So that's what they need to say, right? So we got
right.
Dark Brain says, praise God.
Okay. So it at least one. We got one. Okay. And of course, I'm going to say praise God. Okay. So we've acknowledged the source. The next thing, and this helps you get to think it too, is either you say love and think of that euphoria, or you can say euphoria of love and think of that. You're so euphoric, you're crying when you're watching something on television that brought tears to your eye. You were so happy,
Mm-hmm.
Think of that moment and put love. That turns on the laser,
Mm-hmm.
and then have him. Anybody wants to participate, but love.
Love.
Okay. Has anybody done that?
Jacob Waters said, praise God. I just wrote love. Let's see. Jacob Waters wrote love. So I'm sure we're going to get some more.
All we need is at least one. Okay. Plus us, of course. Okay. So now we've activated the free will love laser. Now, from this point on, you can choose. The only thing you have to do is activate it for yourself. You can do this all you want with your own intentions added
Mm-hmm.
to do those things, and you'll be connected, and you'll have all the power of all the patriots in the multiverse contributing their energies to your intention, and vice versa. Your energies are to be contributing to all their intentions.
Wow.
Okay, now.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the intention that I'm going to put out there right now.
Okay.
As a test. Okay. My intention is within 30 days for the Chinese people to be liberated from their oppressors.
Wow.
So praise God, euphoria of love. The intention is that the Chinese people will be liberated from their oppressors. We will get a sign of this liberation within 30 days. So how's that for a specific intention?
Wow.
So now watch for it. Watch for it. Because obviously, anybody looking at this realistically is going to say, there's no way, right?
Uh-huh.
Right? Our conscious brain says, there's no way, right? But we just put that intention out to the universe, and we backed it up with the intention of all the patriots in the multiverse. So watch and see what happens.
I went and typed that intention out.
Does that mean it's going to happen? No, it does not. But I can tell you, I've seen these intentions come true, and I wouldn't have been attacked if that original intention didn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So, but you can use it for everything from the mundane to the. So I put out intentions there that daily. I put out. Technically, I don't have to reinforce it daily, but I do anyway. Okay. To heal all the patriots and protect them from harm. I put out heals the multiverse, and that you want to, when you set out an intention, this is very important. Although you want to help the evil people, whatever. Do not focus your attention specifically on them, because you give them a connection to which to attack you.
Wow.
Instead, put out the intention that all will be healed. Right?
Yeah.
This healing means that healing is good for all, right? That's a good intention. That's service to others, right? Healing means they can become better. They wake up. They, they move toward ascension. Okay? So when you say something in general, direct it toward all, and not a specific, especially not a specific evil.
Interesting.
Don't give them a connection back to you. Anyway, so use it, discover for yourself. We'll wait and see what happens today. What's today's date?
22nd.
22nd.
August
So
22nd.
I'm saying by September 22nd,
Okay.
something major is going to happen to show us all.
That's that's my father's birthday.
So remember your father's still part of that. He may not be a corporeal being right now, but he's still a being like us.
Yes.
So.
Well, that's fantastic, Max. You really gave us a lot to chew on, and the people in the chat have really been enjoying this talk a lot. I've been trying to keep the shows down in time a little bit, so I think right now might be a good time to put a cap on it. How does that sound?
That's fine.
Okay.
I just want to share this things with you, and of course, I know, just like I was in the beginning, and of course, I had something immediately that told me that what I had done was significant. Okay, nothing like coming under attack and seeing a being, telling you wants you to die. That kind of says you've done something right, And and of course, call upon for help too. Be careful about directing it. Like I said, otherwise you will get some of the same kind of attacks that I got. I don't want that.
No, we don't want that. Well,
but if if it does happen, go watch some of the shows put out by the Pragmatic.
Yes, that's a great thing.
His messages, his stuff really works.
Yes, it really does.
You can command evil to avoid you.
Yeah.
You can take authority over everything. So anyway.
Well, Dark Brain says, thank you, Maxwell. Very thought-provoking. And I want to thank everyone in the chat, everyone who watched, everyone who shared, subscribed, and especially I want to thank Catherine for the super chat earlier. Thank you very much. That's very well appreciated. And
there's one more thing I want to add.
Okay, one more thing from Max.
I talked about this free will love laser being encompassing all the thoughts I was talking about later. About this is actually this free will love laser is actually a time machine. Now I want you to think about that in light of what I was telling you before. I'll give you the hints. Okay, the free will love laser is just this third dimensional example of what it does. The next dimension above is, remember, we're all consciousness. What I contend is we're all a 2D superconductor, which means if we hit it with terahertz frequencies, we pump these 2D superconductors up to a higher state, and they drop down, producing gravity. And remember, terahertz frequency is the frequency of consciousness. So simultaneously, when we're doing this, we're also pumping this other gravity laser So we're actually invoking it. This is one of the reasons it's transdimensional. It's invoking or altering gravity, and anytime you alter gravity, you're altering time.
Okay.
So I just wanted to throw that out, the thought-provoking, and even though I can't even conceive it yet, we're simultaneously also, even though I can't just find the mechanisms, promoting this laser that's based upon the Tau.
Okay.
So this tool is doing all of those things, I believe, at the same time. Just leave it to that, let people think about that.
All right. Thank you so much, Maxwell. We look forward to talking to you again. And for everyone out there, I want you to keep looking up, keep looking for the stars, for a UFO, and peace in.